Hey guys, Gary J here, and today we're looking at the Vortex Impact 1000 rangefinder. Vortex Impact 1000 rangefinder. 1000 refers to being able to range find out to 1,000 yards. Now the Vortex on this model right here is really nice for the money. You can buy rangefinders that cost over $1,500, probably over $2,000 for a rangefinder, whatever you want to pay for one. Now this one right here, I looked through a lot of different rangefinders, and for the money and for what my need is, this kind of fills the bill, and it's not what I would call cheap, but it's not it's super expensive, but I think it's well worth the money. This runs $179, and I know that sounds like a good bit of money, and it is, but it's very versatile. That I found using this. I really needed a rangefinder, and one of the reasons I needed a rangefinder is because if you shoot archery, and I've got my target here, and I've got these little red flags right here, and I mark them off every 10 yards, so I know that my distance is accurate using the rangefinder. And also, when I shoot, I have a pair of new Nikon binoculars that I bought. Got a video on those that are really nice. And I found out that, with this rangefinder, and it only weighs 5.5 ounces, so it doesn't weigh anything. It comes with a carrying case that you put on your belt. And so when I shoot, even out to 70 yards, I can look through the monocular side of it right here, and I can see clearly my target. Now sometimes you may have to walk about 10 feet to the right or left of the target if you're out 50, 60 yards, just to get an angle of the view sometimes, depending on what the background is you're shooting against. But the clarity of this monocular here is incredible, and this is a 6x power. So it really brings things up really close. And while I'm out here shooting archery, and I'm sitting down right now, I can look at, the birds, and I can look at squirrels, and I can look at, all kinds of animals and different things flying around and running around and playing or whatever. And certainly range find anything I want to range find around my house. And so there are other purposes too. I was looking at a helicopter the other day with it, and in a commercial airplane flying over. It was kind of low, and it's just interesting what you can do with one of these right here. And it kind of replaced my binoculars of carrying them with me when I'm shooting out like 40 to 80 yards and so forth. So that's a big plus to me when you're just practicing. And if you're a 3D hunter, you really need a rangefinder when you're practicing to get that distance down, because if you look at something, say like right here, there's a squirrel right here in the center screen, right there in the center. He'll move in just a second, I guess, but looking at him, he is 42 yards away. Now, one of the things about a rangefinder, you can't let anything get in the way of your lens. At 42 yards away, I've got a sight set at 40 yards. I could shoot and have a good chance of hitting that squirrel if I wanted to, but I don't want to shoot little squirrels or really any little animals. So, but it helps you with that too. If you saw an animal or something like that, and once you use your rangefinder and you find out where their distance, you know what sight to use, and whether that's the shot you want to take or not. So it's invaluable for hunting. It's to me probably invaluable for 3D hunting. So you know the distance of the targets you're shooting at, and you just know what sight to shoot with, and just for practicing on your targets like this here. I've got a synthetic target in front of this hay target. So it's very versatile, and I mean you can look at wildlife with it too. It's 6 power. The clarity is unbelievable on this right here too. Really love the monocular clarity of it. So you can look at birds, you can look at animals, you can look at various things. You know, one of these days, I guess if they don't already have it, they'll have a camera built into these where you can just snap a picture too, because it's really high quality optics in here. They have the Nikon version, which is almost as good as this, pretty much the same, but the Nikon is water resistant. This one is waterproof, and the difference in price is $10. This is $10 more, and the warranty on these, the warranty on this one is for life, and doesn't matter who the owner is or if you have a receipt or don't have a receipt, they'll still repair this or replace it if you have a Vortex, anything Vortex. And Nikon, oh, look at this right here. Oh, he sees me. He smelled me evidently. He took off. He's hiding behind a bush right there, behind a tree. They think they're hiding me. He's not really hiding. He's looking between these trees right here at me. Now with the rangefinder, he's about 48 yards away. Now he's stomping his foot. He's trying to get me to move. Listen to him. Now he's blowing. He's blowing a. That's what they do when they know something's amiss. But pretty doe there. But I have deer all the time in my yard right here. And he was I got my bow right here. He was 42 yards away. Actually, that was a good sized doe, so that would have been an easy shot to me, I think. But anyway, that's one of the advantages of a rangefinder. You can look him up. Now, I didn't use my rangefinder on him, but I know where he was at, and then my fence is right there, so I know that he's right there at 42 yards. So, I mean, there are just so many things you can do with a rangefinder, just using the binocular part of it, not just the rangefinder, but the binocular part of it. So that's pretty cool. One of the things I found out too, that using a rangefinder, that I can, instead of carrying my Nikon binoculars, which are a little bit heavy, this thing's 5.5 ounces. I can carry this. Got a pouch that you put on your belt, and I can carry this, and I can see where my arrows hit out to 70 yards, depending. Now, it only has 2 buttons here, so it's this is called your measure button. And when you measure using this button here, and this is your menu button here, you can change your menu from yards to meters, and from line of sight to horizontal corrective distance, or distance corrected. So those are your main function, and it gives you battery life on the inside here too. And the way it works basically is that you look through here and you press this measure button once, and a reticle will appear like a crosshair, and you put that on whatever you want to measure the distance of. and then you press the button again, and it will give you the distance of that. And depending on whether you have it on LOC or HCD, horizontal corrected distance. Here's an example right here, what I'm talking about. Like this ram right here, using a laser is a straight line of sight. This is like shooting a laser straight to it. This ram is 500 yards away. Well, if you're going to hunt with this, shooting bows or on animals uphill, downhill, whatnot, and or a rifle, you're going to keep it on HCD. This is HCD right here. Now, the true distance here to this ram is actually 385 yards because it takes in account this angle. The angle, it'll do what's called angle correctedness from 15 to 30 degree angle. So you would set your scope at 385 yards to hit this animal, because if you put it at line of sight at 500 yards, you're going to shoot way over it. So that's really nice right there, because you know when you shoot at animals that are up, you know, higher up or down low on a decline, people have a tendency to shoot over them or under them. So by leaving it on HCD mode, you will get a corrective distance so that you know exactly what distance you need to be shooting at when you're shooting up or downhill. So that's really good to know right there. So that's where you normally want to keep that on. And right here, you see a little reticle right here. When you press that button, measure, that reticle pops up. Press it again, and it gives you like 235 yards right here. And down here it has a battery icon too, let you know your battery. And I think if you have it on LOC, line of sight, it'll give you at the bottom the angle. Now if you're getting the angle, then you're going to have to use a card like this right here to figure out where you need to shoot at, how low or high you're going to be shooting. This is called MOA scope drop card. And so you got to figure that out. But if you put it on HCD, it should correct that for you, so you don't have to do that. So that makes it really nice, especially shooting uphill, downhill with deer or elk or something like that. So that's a very good function of this right here. And when you're using these, again, you have a laser going out and coming back, and the laser coming back is what's giving you your distance. And so if you're using these, and since it's small, if you have your finger in front of it right here, you're not going to be able to get a reading. So if you don't get a reading, then think about where your fingers are. They might be covering this lens a little bit. So only 2 buttons, measure, and put it on HCD. For the most part, in your menu for yards or meters or line of sight or the horizontal corrected distance. So it's a nice little unit right here. It's pretty tough, and the rubber casing here is really nice too.